Good evening, gentlemen.
Hello.
Good evening.
Welcome to the table.
Thank you.
Good to be here.
Hurrah, it's 2024. Can you
is.
believe it?
Have you written the year wrong yet?
No, I
Or
haven't.
typed it wrong?
No, I haven't actually.
I have no reason to write the dates
No,
apart
don't
from a
anymore, do
check.
you? Used to be
or-
checks
you
years
put-
ago, didn't it? God, we're showing
Don't have
our
to worry
age
about
now.
it.
That
What's
is
a- what's a
showing
check,
your age.
Stuart?
I've written it a couple of times and did have to think about it once.
Oh, do you
But
know
it's
what? That's really
2024.
funny. I don't think I've actually even thought about it. I've just
Oh,
written
there you
it.
go. Well, we're in 2024.
It's
I know,
February that it goes wrong. You go back to 23 in February.
Do you reckon?
Yeah,
Okay.
Maybe.
We'll ask again in a few weeks' time. So, how was Christmas? So that's the last
Oh,
time
wow.
we recorded. It
Okay.
feels like everyone asks me that, and I want to go, sorry, Christmas, when was that?
Exactly.
Is everybody else feeling a bit like that? That we're like straight back into the swing of
Mm-hmm.
things? Was Christmas a good time? Did you and your families have a lovely time?
Depends how you look at it, really.
Go on.
I'm thinking this is a public broadcast. Let's
brilliant.
just say when the friends started to come round, it was far better than the actual family side of things. They won't listen to this.
That's honesty for you, because I think there's a lot of people that can find Christmas a really tough time when family that doesn't normally do an awful lot of life together all of a sudden feel like they should be enforced to be together, and then that can be sometimes quite tough. So I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people out there that feel like, okay.
Well, just it's not quite as bad as that. It's just friends are more fun. Family a bit more boring.
A bit more boring.
I'm staying quiet, wondering how far you're going to push
Stuart
this.
is getting
push this
very
story.
quiet.
We had a great Christmas. We had a house
Yeah,
full of families,
surprise.
so
Yeah.
which was an unexpected pleasure. So no, we had a lovely time with our new grandson, so our only grandson. So he
How
was
precious.
nearly 1, and yeah, had a delightful time with him.
How many
Awesome.
times did he go to the Christmas tree and push a bauble?
It was more pulling them,
Mhm.
pulling baubles, not pushing. Yeah,
Oh, I
no, he
remember
liked
those
his
days.
baubles definitely.
Ah.
Yeah, no, it was great fun. So that was good. It was full on,
Yeah, I bet.
but good entertainment, good fun, and just great to be together. To have some good conversations and some family
Yeah,
time.
lovely.
And before that, we'd had a kind of what felt like a really rich time with church as well. So to having that time of family after a really busy but rich time as church was good. Yeah, exhausting but good.
It's interesting for me. The run up to Christmas this year was really special because we had such amazing family time at church.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
to have Christmas Eve on a Sunday and to
Yeah,
have
that
that
was lovely,
service,
wasn't it?
if we could do that, if we could do a service on Christmas Eve, no matter what day of the week it was, it would set me up.
Okay. Yeah.
I literally had a conversation with my mum a few months before Christmas saying, Christmas isn't maybe as exciting as it
Okay.
used to be for me. So
Yeah.
we moved away. So for 12 years, we always had the excitement of one of the family coming over to either live with stay with us for a week or 2 weeks in Guernsey, or come up to visit us in Bristol or Portsmouth. So the excitement for us as kids was like off the scale, because we got to see our grandma and our pops and our uncles and stuff that we didn't get to see all year round. So
Yeah.
it was so exciting. And I said to Mum, no disrespect, but I see you every week, love, and I'm round your house every week. So it's just got that different
Yeah,
feel.
yeah.
And then actually I was so surprised of how just the run up from the carol service and the nativity that we had the previous
which was
week into
amazing.
it was amazing.
Yeah.
Then the Christmas Eve service, and then a few of us went for a walk, a very windy walk, wasn't
Okay,
it, James?
great.
Down
And
at
wet.
Hastings.
Oh, yeah.
On Christmas Eve, we
Oh,
decided.
did you? What a great idea.
Yeah, do you know what? I thought,
And I didn't bring my coat.
you
What?
never take your coat when we go for a walk at Hastings, ever, you loon.
But you gave me a scarf, which helped.
It was the end of December. You must have been freezing.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
How long were we out for?
I was pleased when we got to the place to eat, the cafe place. That was
Okay.
warm in there.
We were out for hours, weren't we? We went straight from church.
Mostly in the cafe.
Yeah, we were. It was awesome. I thought to myself, 2 kids
Yeah.
coming home straight from church,
Yeah.
that is going to be a long afternoon.
Particularly if they're hyped up, ready
Yeah.
for Christmas.
Absolutely. So we were like, hey, let's go and blow the cobwebs away.
Yep,
and
good.
we nearly got blown away ourselves. It was so ridiculous down there. But it was absolutely brilliant. And then, for me, it was so beautiful to have that run up for me. I was like, let's do church on Christmas Eve every year. Because I don't do Christmas Day.
Okay.
I
Yep.
don't come to church on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
Never have done. So it's not something I've ever
I
done.
see. Okay.
So
You're missing out.
yeah, and do you know what? I really loved your challenge, actually, James, when you said, actually, it's not about you, it's about your children. And actually, maybe you need to do that so the kids can understand.
I did
that
challenge
it's
you,
not
didn't I?
just,
Yeah.
And do you know,
Yeah.
I've so taken that challenge on and gone, right, okay. My parents gave us the blessing to say, if that's what you guys
Yeah.
want to do,
Yeah.
then I think I'm always aware of not breaking a tradition and
Okay.
upsetting my parents that have
Yeah.
always done these traditions. And you don't want to upset them for no reason. So, yeah, it was really lovely. You put that challenge out, and Andy and I were both like, do you know what, we like that. That's actually a very, very fair point.
Wow.
See you next year then.
The
Yeah.
wisdom of James.
Oh, wow.
Well done.
Came out once.
No, I love the fact that you are further ahead because your children are teenagers, young adults, and you've been there. And we really respect you guys as a family, and we've done a lot of life with you. So when you bring something to the table like that, it's a bit like that. I love seeing your children and who they are and where they're at with Jesus. And that's because you guys have been really wise with the parenting and wise with your prayers over your kids. So, hey, you're...
Might have been something to do with God as well. It doesn't
Yeah.
always turn out that way. Luckily for us, it has. We've been blessed in that sense, definitely.
Well, I'm going to take, when you put challenge or wisdom on the table, I'm going to take it because I see the fruits in the lives that you've led through your children. And, hey, man, you guys have been faithful, you and your wife. So,
I
yeah.
don't think, just to lay down what the challenge was, I don't think we've actually said the words that I said. And it was like, on Christ's birthday, on Christmas Day, it's about him. So why on that day are you not coming to church?
Yeah,
With
and
your kids?
you also said for your children, you've got them to understand it's not all just about presents.
Yeah.
And I think that's what really, I thought that was a really lovely challenge of going, I need to refocus. And actually, Ezra struggled this year.
Okay.
He really struggled and found it quite overwhelming. And I struggled not to be able to reach him, thinking what was going on. And actually thinking, Lord, we've got to do something different next year. And actually, I think your challenge was very apt. So, yes, we will be here next year.
There we go.
Do remember that,
Christmas
Stuart.
Day.
Okay. No, I don't need to. Jauida will remember it.
Call me out if we're not.
Oh, we will. Put it in the calendar, Stuart.
It is interesting when you're planning. I find it interesting planning ahead to the Christmas services because you're aware of these pressures that people are under. And I never know how many people are coming to any given service. This year, talking to some other church leader friends, I think all of us were surprised at the numbers that came to services because it was
Was it up?
It was
across
up.
the board.
across the
Okay,
board generally.
wow.
Wonder what
Certainly
that's
for key
about.
services, people were saying there were just a lot of people coming out, which was
And
really
I wasn't
encouraging.
sure this year because I was
No.
thinking with where Christmas is falling, a lot more
Yeah.
people will travel
Yep.
and use it for that time to go, right, we'll go and travel and see our friends and
Yeah,
family.
but we kept putting chairs out, and
Yeah.
that Christmas, I think the Carol's Nativity was amazing. That Rosemary and the team did a great job there, and I think that was so encouraging. And the one that really surprised me was the Christmas communion service that we had, which was completely different feel, but a real sense of God's presence,
Oh,
a sense of
massively.
just calling us back to that place of worship. Connecting up the cradle and the cross and sharing
Yeah.
communion together. It was beautiful. I'd love to do that type of thing again
Yeah.
another year, because I think to center us in on Jesus so powerfully without needing some of the entertainment perhaps that we put around other
That's so
services,
good.
where for some reason we get into this thing of we've got families and visitors, and so we need to entertain, and actually there was something about that communion Christmas service that there was no entertainment about it whatsoever, but there was something powerful about the presence of God there.
Oh, my
and,
goodness, definitely.
really precious. So
I think Rojo walked in and she was already quite emotional when she walked in,
Okay.
and I knew that was the sense for that week as I was praying about it, that there was that expectation that his presence would be felt. And it was beautiful. A really beautiful. I just kept saying to people, it's like midnight mass, but at 10
Yeah.
o'clock in the morning.
I know, bizarre, wasn't it? How did that happen?
Shut the blinds.
I know, but it something changed.
It
did.
Just the
It did.
feeling in here.
Yeah.
But more than that, I think people were wanting God and wanting His presence. And I think for many as well, Christmas, as you said, isn't an easy time.
Yeah.
For lots of different reasons, and so to be able to have a more meditative, thoughtful space was probably quite helpful as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, everything. Anybody that's spoken has said how beautiful it was and how they just loved it, set it up for them
Yeah.
to be in his
Yeah.
presence like that, and it being very intimate with him.
Yeah.
You know,
You
To
can't
take
can
away-
something like that, can you?
No.
Unfortunately. So
No,
we'll
you
see what
can't.
happens this coming year. But
yeah, who knows?
but who knows? Yeah.
But it was good. And then we've got kind of come straight. For me, it was like I blinked and we're in the new year already.
Yeah, middle of January. How
It's
did that happen?
ridiculous.
Are we there already? I want to look
We
at the
are.
date now.
It's the 15th.
Is
Yeah.
it? It really is the
Mid-January, yeah.
Mid-January. Wow.
That's gone fast. How do you normally feel going into a new year?
Okay, I can remember. I think it was the 5th. Sharon and I were like, oh, we were so miserable.
Really?
I think there's a name. There's a Blue Monday apparently.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what date
That's
that's
what they
supposed to be. I think it's
That's-
later on.
It is.
It hit us early.
Okay.
It was like
Okay.
we'd partied. We'd seen so many people
Okay.
over that period,
Mm.
and then we just sat and went, "Oh no, what's the point of life?" Classic January, and I actually said to Sharon, "It's January," and he just even though I said it's January, our emotions were like, "Oh," but our logic just kicked in. Yeah, it's January. I think the next day we were fine again. It's just that
Okay.
one
You
evening
just
we
had
was
to
like,
name it, did you? And
Name
say-
it.
Explain why you're grumpy.
Yeah.
And get over it.
went with the grumpiness for that evening. We were both miserable, and then the next day was fine.
Oh wow. Okay.
I think there's
Have you
that-
hit your January low yet? Have you had them Blue Monday?
I was a bit unwell after we'd had all the family go, so I had a week where I was feeling really quite grim.
Yeah.
So that would have coincided with your week, but that wasn't because of it being January necessarily.
Well, it's not just about January. It's that you've had it's in some cases 2 weeks of just fun, socialising, and the contrast
Okay.
between it's the holidays, isn't it?
Yeah.
The
I think for
contrast
me-
from holiday
For
to
me, it was stopping. It's when you stop. It's
Yes.
just everything then
Yeah.
goes a bit weird for a few
Mhm.
days.
Yeah.
and what day is it?
Well, a little bit of that,
Yeah.
yeah. But
I think your body.
your body just crashes
It
sometimes, doesn't it?
does. I used to do that every time when I was before I had children. I'd stop on my holiday, and you can guarantee within 3 days of me being on holiday,
Yeah.
out would come some kind of horrible germ.
Oh no!
And you want to
no.
go, are you kidding
Yeah.
me? But it is because the body's gone, now
Yeah.
breathe. And you're like, no, I don't want you to breathe like this.
If you talk to Judith about our family holidays, you would discover that she would always build up to them and be raring to go from day one, wants to absolutely max out the holiday, whereas I would be working and trying to get all my jobs done before going away. So the first 3 days I was semi-comatose.
Brilliant.
Just not. What really wasn't a blessing to her, I don't think, the first few days of me being on holiday ever. But there we go.
I think Christmas again it's crazy, and I really do generally, not just for Ezra, would like to do things differently. And I was very
Yeah.
thankful this year that I used to carry some anxiety, and I didn't really understand fully why I did carry anxiety towards Christmas. And I think it's ludicrous. It's absolutely ludicrous. This whole thing about 1 or 2 days, and I was thankful I didn't have that anxiety this year. But again, I still want to do things different as the years go by, because I think, Lord, this is crazy. This is just 2 days,
Yep.
and we're just trying to cram everything in.
Yep.
And I think actually I need to stop this, and I need to start thinking about what is important. What do I want to do? What does it want to be about? And this year I was very thankful that Andy and I had 10 days as a family together,
Okay,
and
great.
we got to come and spend some time with some friends that we absolutely loved. But it was almost as if, like, actually, we're just going to shove everything else
Yeah,
out
good.
and just realise that actually this is important. Andy's self-employed, so he doesn't get like 4 weeks a year where he can just take it off.
He's
So we-
welcome to take any time off he wants, but nobody pays
He
him.
absolutely,
Yeah,
which is always a
okay.
bit of an issue, especially
Yeah.
when it comes to Christmas.
Yeah.
But do you know what? Just appreciating that. And then, I think this year it hit everybody really quickly because we went straight from New Year back into work within like the next day. When normally you've got sort of
Yep.
a week afterwards. And I think that threw everybody this year as well.
And what day did Andy go back?
He actually went back on the Wednesday.
Excellent, because I'm self-employed too, and that's exactly what I did.
Yeah.
It's very painful for Sharon. She went off on the Tuesday. I was like, bye, darling.
Bye, while you're still in bed.
Exactly.
But you know what I really loved? And I don't think I've had the January blues because we went straight back into home educating and doing all the things straight into a week of prayer. And that was rich.
Yeah, it was.
That was really rich.
Yeah.
And what a way to start a new year.
It was really, really special, I think. As you were talking about Christmas and the pressure that people feel about it, two words came to mind. One was performative, and one was perfectionism. And we end because there's an element of performance around our Christmases often, aren't there? Where we're aware that we're playing to a slightly larger dinner table of people, maybe, or there's all this baggage of expectation that we carry in. And that's so divorced from the biblical Christmas story, which has mangers and muck and shepherds and all sorts of stuff going on in it. And so you're absolutely right. To come then into the new year, after all of that, and focus in on a week of prayer together has been, it's been life-giving for me. Partly because I had 2 weeks of Christmas and then on that first week of the new year where things just weren't in the right order, weren't in the right place. I was somehow disconnected from myself, disconnected from God in some way. Even though I'm seeking Him for preaching and planning and everything else, just that week of prayers set me up and just got everything back in the right order again. And it's been so precious just to sit and be here night after night through this week.
So how many years? So I've been at TWCF for 7-8 years. I don't remember a January that hasn't had a week of prayer. Am I remembering correctly or not?
Yeah, we've done them quite a bit. I've been here 15 years, so
Wow.
I don't think we did them in the very first year, but they came in fairly soon after. And each, they're different each time. This time felt really quite simple in some ways. It was uncomplicated, unflashy. I'd said to the leadership team that I just sensed that this year we were to press into encountering Jesus. That was going to be kind of what I felt was on my heart for the year. It was so simple, isn't it? We're a church. We ought to be encountering Jesus. I felt almost not embarrassed saying it, but it's like, well, this is what we should be about. But each of them took an aspect of that, and there was no more planning other than people volunteering for evenings, and that was it. Off we went. And it wasn't even about who was leading so much or what they did. It was just us gathering from across the church family, being together in God's presence and wanting more of Him. And it felt rich to me.
I think it's a great way to start the new year.
Yeah, it was lovely.
Yeah. How do you normally come into the new year? Do you come with expectation? Do you come... Well, you said you got to about the 5th and you're a bit, I'm done in. I need to unplug.
I'm not one of these people that makes New Year's resolutions and this year's going to be something different. It's just another month.
Okay.
And that's it.
You're not a resolutions person, are you, Jauida?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
No, I'm not. But So I was saying to somebody just recently that was really struggling going into December, going, why am I so exhausted? And I was like, because you've done 12 months. Don't underestimate that you have done 12 months, and there's something about coming to the 12th month and it symbolising you've been going for a whole year. So I think I've probably learnt this about myself. So I was speaking to my friend, and then I was like, and then it almost came to the point of going, and now I'm in the first month.
Okay.
And there's something for me that comes with a bit like, I'm in the first month. What do you want to do, Lord? So for me, January symbolises not a new start, because I'm still the same me, but it's a new year, new possibilities, new year into the Father's plans and purposes. So I come into January with a bit of an expectancy to say, what do you want to do? What are you saying? January is quite an exciting time for me after a December of, I've just done 12 months and I'm exhausted. So,
and it can feel like December's almost taken out of your hands, because there are so many expectations around some of the things you have to do and you always do. And so that's certainly that last week or two of December, it's, you don't get many choices that you get to make always. So to come into January, you got a little bit more permission maybe to dream a little, think a little, do things a little bit differently, and start again.
Yeah.
It's I've said this before, but I used to love as a kid in primary school. One of the things I did like about school was a new exercise book and turning the page.
It was fresh, wasn't
That
it?
first
Lovely.
page.
Yes.
And my neat handwriting lasted about a third of a page. If I was, doing really well, maybe half a page, and then it got scrawly again. But it was a lovely feeling, just that
Yes.
fresh start.
Yeah.
And I think we all like that, whether you're a resolution setter or not. I'm not particularly, but I do like that sense of God calling me often back to something, or renewing a call for something for each new year.
So, looking at the week of prayer, looking at you, Stuart, was there anything that came out of that God said, either for you personally or for the church, that people heard, or you heard?
I think for me, it was more about being in God's presence. So just a renewed commitment to be in His presence, and to prioritise that. So to make Jesus the first in my day, literally. So the first conversation I have with Jesus, to make Him first in my decisions that I'm making, and first in my heart as I'm going through the day. And so that was, I think that it's something of the symbolism of having that time of prayer together as a church pretty much the first week of the year. It's the first full week of the year. And there's something about putting Jesus first that actually then carried through to my own heart. So it's like, actually, I think I need to be doing this. It's obvious again, but it's just that, hey, we drift away from the obvious into all sorts of patterns, don't we? And so it's coming back to the simple thing and saying, God was saying to me, I think this is a good thing to do, Stuart. So
It's the basics.
yeah, it is.
The
So that
basics
was
of
me
our
personally.
faith is so important. We go off wandering other directions, don't we?
Yeah.
Thinking about big topics, and actually just that bare bones relationships with Christ is it's all it's about, really, isn't it? Yeah.
Making room. It's
Yeah.
amazing when you make room how beautiful those moments are that you want to go, oh, Lord,
Yeah.
why am I not making room? Why am I not making more room like this for you and I? Yeah. It is simple, but it is, like you say, sometimes making that room that you realise what you've been missing, and the Father just going, hey, I'm always here. Come and make room with me. That's beautiful.
Okay, confession here.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this before. Absolutely recognising that I'm addicted to just switching on something on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking about that first half an hour before the caffeine's kicked in.
Okay.
So you said you're trying to make a change of talking to Jesus first, or God first.
Yep.
My first conversation is with my bladder. And the second conversation is with my coffee machine.
Okay.
And after that, there might be it
Yeah.
might be God. But
The
All
phone's the fatal bit in there.
yeah,
Yeah.
and what I could do is I could put on the Bible,
Yeah.
and I have that, and I'd listen to that a lot at
Yeah.
work. But confession, I'm really addicted to listen to anything because my
Yeah.
brain's not waking up. But wouldn't it be great to wake up with Christ instead?
I did that. It was before Christmas now, a little while ago, but I had a couple of weeks where I was really deliberate when I carried my phone and when I didn't, when I carried my iPad
That's
when I
good.
didn't, and it made a marked difference to the sense that within a few days I was kind of get slightly jittery, not quite
Terrible,
withdrawal
isn't it?
symptoms, but you were aware that you wanted to look at things.
Yeah.
Just why? It's just whether it's a news feed or it's nothing I
Yes.
need to know.
Yeah.
There's some awful stuff happening in the world, and I often do pray about it, but sometimes I don't. And if I'm not, then nothing's changed by me knowing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can make a change if I can pray about it, but just reading it doesn't make any difference to anybody's life. So I was filling my life, my moments, bare moments. And you realise it's bad if you go to the bathroom and you've got your phone, or something, don't you? It's like, I really don't need it in there.
Yeah.
Those little moments that if we could abandon the distraction, I think we'd find for me personally, I was finding clear thinking time.
Yeah.
I've made a decision.
Yeah, for me, going out for a run or something is good because I
Yeah.
I can't look at a phone.
Yes.
So that I've just got
Yeah, that's really
my
good.
surroundings.
Yeah.
So it's whatever the equivalent for you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I've made a decision. I'm going to leave my phone upstairs when I have my breakfast.
Okay.
I don't know how many days that will last. You can ask me next week.
Good for you. Good for you.
That's
So-
my decision.
I do it the opposite round. My phone is always downstairs when I'm upstairs in bed. So
Yeah,
my phone
that's-
charges downstairs and I
That's good.
don't go and look at it.
Yeah.
But I've got iPad or other devices I can use if I need to.
Yeah.
So, but they ought to be out the way as well.
Okay, that's another challenge that potentially accepted might leave it downstairs.
Well, quite frankly, I want to raise both my hands and go, I am with you, gentlemen, because I have my iPad and that's the first thing. I'll wake up in the morning and I'll check my emails and I'll read the news feeds.
Okay.
Then I'll go to Facebook. Yes, I'm in my 40s, so that's what 40-year-olds do, not TikTok or anything like that. That's how old I am. And that is... Yeah, I'd love to say that I should be able to get up and do stuff with Jesus. And I have laid there and I've thought, Lord, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to talk to you. And then
Yeah.
half an hour's
Yep.
gone because I've fallen
Yeah, yeah.
asleep.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
Lord,
yeah.
I need to work out to not be religialistic and legalistic with
Yeah.
myself. So it's about being in that place that says, right, I need to just do what I do. I look at the news feeds, I do all of these things, close it up, get in the shower, get on, have a coffee, sit down and have my time with Jesus, and making sure that's all done before I need to start doing teaching with the boys at 9:30, 10
Great.
o'clock. So for me, it's like, right, now I'm going to stop bashing myself over the head.
Yeah.
I now know that I have got a time when I have got to sit down with the boys and I need to have my time with Jesus before that. So it doesn't work me trying to be legalistic with myself and propping myself up in bed and trying to talk to Jesus and read my Bible when I'm just going to fall back asleep again. So it's interesting. I so do that with the phone, but I've got to work out a way. And I think that's the thing. We've all got to work out that way that's actually realistic, because I was really bashing myself with why I couldn't do this. And I thought, Lord, it doesn't matter whether I do it at 6:30 or whether I'm sitting with you at 9 o'clock. Why am I now causing myself this issue and being legalistic with myself?
Sure.
As long as I'm having my time with you and putting
Yeah,
you
yeah.
before I rush into teaching the boys or rush out the front door.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, isn't it, how it's the same challenge that we've all got.
Yeah, yeah,
What are you
yeah.
doing, and are you spending any time with me before you face your day? And it's very interesting. I wonder how many people, as they're listening to this, have got their hands in the air going, yeah, that's me.
Yep.
me too.
So I enjoy reading. When I remember to actually get a book out and read it.
Me too.
But I realised I'm reading so much all day. And I mean, years ago, I felt God challenged me about creating, not consuming,
Wow.
in that I was in a period of consuming a lot, and actually, why not write something down rather than just reading something all the time? And that sense of actually being creative, God's put creativity within all of us. So why are we
Yeah.
just out there reading someone else's Facebook post or whatever
Yeah.
else it might be? Let's, I'm not saying it's something world shattering, but actually
That's great.
read a proper book or write something down, even if it's just some notes. Doesn't matter. But
Yeah,
anyway,
I like
that was where
That's
I was
a good
a little while
challenge.
ago.
That's a good challenge. So, James, what did you get out of the week of prayer? Did you enjoy it? Did you feel like you met with the Father in an intimate
Oh,
way
good question.
for yourself, for your family, or for the church family?
That's a big question. I came to most of them. I missed 2 nights. I was there most of the time. Every night was different. I think on most nights I met with him in some ways. There was one particular night that was, I'm not going to name the night, was particularly powerful. Really was. It was just, we just sat in the presence of God. And I think it was one of the nights with the least agenda.
Okay.
And it was
Interesting.
just
Yeah.
the presence of God just washing over us. It's beautiful. And yeah, God spoke to me as well for personal stuff.
That's great.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. I missed it last night. I had a headache, which was a bit of a shame.
Yeah.
But there you go.
It was almost drip feed for me. It kind of built up through the week. So I wouldn't say there was any defining moment. In the past, some weeks there has been. Some of our weeks of prayer there has been. So, oh wow, do you remember that night? And I didn't sense that personally for me, but just that being in God's presence kind of grew through the week and was really good. How about you, Jauida?
So it was an interesting one for me this year. I am normally really excited about coming into the church week of prayer. And I am somebody that is a little bit like, I'm sure people think, crikey, doesn't she ever want to get involved with people? But because I'm around my children 24/7, that I love, and it's a gift to be able to do that, when I come to the church week of prayer, or I come to a prayer meeting, I'm a bit like, give me space.
Okay.
So I am
It's
normally
the first
the
bit
one
of space you've had all day.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I'm a little bit like, I've got my scarf on the floor, I've taken my shoes off, I've got my journal out, my Bible out, every multiple coloured pen you could possibly imagine, because I'm sitting there going, I'm here to hear, to do whatever, but this is my space, and it's precious. So I'm so very excited about having that alone time with him out of my home.
Okay.
And I think we spoke about this in a previous podcast, that for me, being out of the home, it's then just that place of like, I am here and I'm all yours.
Actually, that's true, yeah.
I'm not thinking of
There's
anything
something
in my
different, isn't it?
home.
There's no jobs to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's no checking that husband's okay. Are the kids breathing upstairs?
Yeah.
What's in the tumble dryer? I am literally disengaged from my normal life, so I get to come. And I really appreciate coming and there being no agenda, because I think there's always an agenda in everyday life.
Yeah.
For me, I need to come and have that space where it's a bit like, I don't want to take on anybody else's agenda. I literally, it almost brings the rebellious part in me of going, I don't want to join in. I don't care what you're going to say. I need, like a child, I need this.
Yeah.
This is my space. This is my time. And I think I found that quite hard.
Okay.
So worship on the Sunday night was beautiful. I couldn't make it Monday. Tuesday I came and I was a bit like, oh, Lord, I need space. I need to be on my own. I need to do this. And it didn't work for me. So I just kind of thought, Lord, there's no point in sitting here. There's no point in sitting here, because I don't want to stop any flow of anything else. This is clearly not working for me. So I'm going to leave to release.
Okay.
So by the time I got to Wednesday, I was like, yeah, I said to you at the end, you led the meeting, and I said to you it was good for my soul. I needed Wednesday. Wednesday was just it was literally the biggest gift.
Okay.
I needed it. And I didn't realize how much I needed it until the end of their meeting. God downloaded, God spoke so blinking clearly, and it was wonderful. And I was like, this is what I'd come for. The space to hear.
Yeah.
No clattering, no other voices, no nothing. And that's not against anybody else, that's
Sure.
to anybody.
Yep.
And it was wonderful. And then it was from that night that I kind of had to step in and lead worship the next
Okay.
few
So you got
nights.
one night. You got one that was what you were expecting or hoping for.
Expecting and needing, I think.
Yeah.
So it was an interesting one for me this year, because normally.
So you could do with another couple of nights where it's just coming and being in God's presence.
Yeah, but that's my responsibility to now do that, isn't it?
You got some keys?
Yeah, absolutely. And I do on Thursdays during the year.
It's
but
not the same,
because when we're together.
There's something about praying together, being in a space where with others seeking God.
Absolutely. And the unity of what God had been saying to me, that I'd literally had started to share with James and Sharon, then up popped two other people on the Wednesday night that spoke out almost exactly the same as what the Lord had been saying to me. It was rich. Yeah. It was so rich and so beautiful. And I love that. As much as I love to be on my own and have that space, I also really love to hear the unity of what the Holy Spirit is saying around people. It's invigorating. It's beautiful. So I love being together. Our church weekend away loved. Our day away I loved, because I love as a church family us all being together in His presence and hearing. And I loved the worship sessions that I got to lead. Yeah. Because again, we're doing it together.
And they were lovely. I don't mean that in a patronising way. They were genuinely. It was a kind of sense of the presence of God, sense of us being together, following His leading.
Yeah, absolutely. And you don't want to do that on your own all the time.
No.
I do love having my time with Dad by myself. Yeah. But there's something extra beautiful about doing it as family together and seeing what God's doing through other people. I really love that as well. So it was a different one for me this year, and that's okay. That's absolutely fine. But I come in hungry, waiting, and very excited about what He wants to do. And He definitely had some stuff to say for me and what I think He's saying over the church in this coming year, which is going to be very interesting to see, and I'm very excited for.
Exciting.
So, what is your sense of
stuff you want to share or not
what
share?
God's stirring for this coming year?
Well, the whole encounter thing was very interesting. And when you brought the Ezekiel, the dry bones, I found it really interesting because it was just really honing in that he wasn't talking to outside the church. He was talking to his people, the hopelessness, the dryness of that, and what he was doing with his people. And that was really exciting. And I felt really tagged on with the fact that you and the leadership had really been speaking about encounter, and that's what you're really sensing that God is asking for this year. And I think it was right when a couple of women said it's going to cost, it's not going to be easy, but a fine kind of sharpening in his presence for his encounter that later on in the week, I think it was on the Friday in Joshua 6, as Ade was talking about the walls of Jericho, and it said the people were afraid of the Israelites. Now, they were only afraid because who their God was. And what they'd been seeing their God had been doing. And I really sense that some stuff that God is going to be doing this year that is really going to point finger to this is who I am and this is what I do for my people. So there's a real, even as I'm saying it now, it's like my whole insides feel like they're shaking. Just this overwhelming sense that there is a awakening of the dry bones to bring him glory. And he wants to do stuff. And I'd come into this year really praying and sensing that we would start rising up in this island that we live in, that we would start rising up. And a call that the church would start rising up.
Wow.
His people would start rising up. And that the world would know and look. And on this little island, there would just be, this is who we are because of who our king is. And then to get the Ezekiel, it's just been very interesting. And then a couple of the words that some of the other ladies shared on that Wednesday was like, the Lord is going to be doing something this year. I have no idea what it's going to look like. And it comes with expectation, a little bit of nervousness, and a whole heap of excitement too. But I think he's going to do something within his church if people want to go there with him. Because he's not a God that's just going to come along. There's got to be, and for those that are willing, I think there's going to be a real shift and a real blessing and provision and setting free to start his fame and his renown being seen again. And I'm excited by that. So
amen to that.
Come on.
Come
on, Lord. With the 15th of January, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? So it's exciting. And I thank you and the leadership for sort of setting up that week and seeing and wanting to start us off in a week personally and as a church family in a way that I think is wonderful. Let's start this new year in a place before the King to say, what do you want? Here we are. We're listening. What do you want? And I think that's really lovely. Really lovely. Hey, let's do it every so many months. Let's do it.
Well, funny you should say that.
Oh, really?
Talking about another one. We had a meeting on Sunday night, and we're talking about another one in April, hopefully.
Come on.
So,
nice.
Love that.
Just to keep us in God's presence and keep us focused and keep us seeking Him.
Yes, sir.
I'll
I'm
be
there. And can I just encourage you guys that are listening, if you can get there, and I know it's not always easy, if you can just get there for one night, there is something very beautiful about being together, and we are called to be together. There is great power in unity. There's great power and comfort in being together in a really safe place. And that is exactly what it is in family. It is a safe place. And it's a safe place to hear, to pray, to press in, and to allow His Spirit to move. And if you couldn't make it, those of you that are listening that are part of our church family, then please, when the dates come out in April, come and join us. Even if it's the first time you've ever stepped out into it, you won't be disappointed because you're not forced into doing anything. It is really your space. And that's not always easy to do, create that space on your own. But there's something really beautiful about being with others that help you create that space to hear. So yeah, please. And I'm very excited about that April date. Roll on April.
Got to do it now.
Yeah, come on. So are you guys expectant this year? Are you expectant for the church? Are you expectant for your family? Or are you still in a place that says, Lord, I don't really know what you've got in store?
I'm going to be quite honest. I don't know. Actually, I'm not expectant. Of course, I'm always expectant. God is always working, and we're always growing in Christ. But most unusually for me, it feels like a blank canvas.
Ooh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
I've no idea where I'm going.
Come on.
Good.
Yeah. As long as I'm walking with Christ, it's all that matters.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
I know I need to. I was looking at my diary just the other day and trying to find a couple of days when I can take 2 days away somewhere just to go and pray and be with God and get a clearer sense of what God's saying. So that's my sense of what I need to do.
Great.
So yeah, I am expectant. Yeah.
I'm excited. I love being at church with you guys, and I love the overflow that we get to do here on a podcast
Yeah,
as
thank
well.
you.
And as we were praying about it before we started to record, there's just that overwhelming sense of, do you know what we're all here to do is to equip each other on this crazy old
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
We're here to encourage each other, because if we don't encourage each other, who is going to? Because we're all just learning, we're all trying to do relationship with Jesus. And I think what I have really appreciated being in TWCF is the family and the friendships that we have got that is creating that sort of that cheering on.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that going, no, we're not perfect, we don't know the answers, but hey, like I was showing before, the fact that you guys, James and Sharon, have been before me and you've had your children, and I've been with you guys since Edie was in Sharon's womb, so I've done all of those years of seeing, and you've gone ahead, and now you two are cheering me on with my children, and I feel very blessed that we are in a church family that have people that want to keep equipping us.
Yeah, and people, I love it for so many reasons, but one, that you get to be with people and hang out with people that you would never connect with otherwise, because circumstances wouldn't have put you together, and yet God has. And that's so rich. People from such vastly different experiences, and yet together we're walking with Jesus. And I'm learning so much every time I get with other people from the church family. I learn so much, and it's such a blessing.
Well, thank you guys for being honest and open and real with your walk. And I hope that this coming year, as we share more of our journey and our relationship with Jesus on the podcast and together outside of this, that we will continue to spur each other on. And that this time next year we'll be being able to share about what God has done in 2024. Because, hey, He's a good, good God. He's got good plans and purposes. And, man, He's got good stuff coming for us. Not always going to be easy.
Yep.
But when you've got good family around you that are going to keep cheering you on. Yeah. So I think we'll leave it there tonight, because, I think it's going to be exciting to see what He wants to say in this little table. And I always say welcome to the table, because
We sat round a table.
and there's always a whole mixture of stuff, and I'm excited about what we're going to talk about in this coming year. And I really hope you listeners get to just be encouraged that we want to just share any part of our lives with you that might encourage you to just keep going, because that's what it's about. Jesus just says keep going. Just keep going. So may this year, even if you've come into it pretty spent out because of the madness of Christmas and going straight back into the madness of work and life, maybe you haven't come in with expectation, maybe you've come in with a whole heap of not another year. I really hope that as we pray for you and we share our lives, it will really encourage you to just keep going, keep walking, because He sees you, He knows you, and He's got you. And we're here to help each other on our journeys with Jesus. So, guys, have a wonderful couple of weeks. And
you?
we will get round this table and have something else to chat about, I no doubt. And
I've already got an idea, but I'm not going to say it now.
oh, James is going to you put good stuff to the table last year, so come on. I'm excited by this. You can tell us when we're off air.
Yeah, I will.
Well, night, God bless, boys, and we will see you in a couple of weeks.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Good night.